So this episode's on Brotherhood, and I do have a new setup here. I got a new mic. My daughter gave this one to me, and I got another one over there. I have a whole setup for having a guest, so I'd like to start doing that. So testing this out and see how this works as far as the audio goes. But anyway, this episode's on Brotherhood, and Brotherhood is defined as state or relationship of being brothers with a common purpose. So the stronger the purpose, the stronger the brotherhood. And I would say common purpose is usually an ideology. That's the strongest of the purposes, because an ideology is what people actually believe in, a group of people that believe in an ideology. And sometimes ideologies can be dangerous, obviously. We've seen that already. So, but I'm going to talk about brotherhood in relation to being in a motorcycle club, because I've been doing that for the better part of, 25, 26 years. So that's what I know. And also, obviously, the Marine Corps. I mean, that was a huge brotherhood. So the ideology was fucking Marine Corps, right? So fuck shit up. So anyway, it doesn't just have to do with motorcycle clubs, because a brotherhood can be found anywhere. Not anywhere, but when you talk about brotherhood, you can talk about law enforcement. You can talk about political parties. You can talk about different organizations like the Masons, right? You can talk about religious organizations, you name it. So my point is that if there's a common purpose, common ideology, there is a chance there's going to be strong brotherhood there. Now, whether or not there is, it's a different story. So, but I'm going to talk about this in perspective of motorcycle clubs, because that's what I've been doing. And I know motorcycle clubs get really bad press sometimes for good reason, sometimes for not. There's a lot of bullshit out there. There's a lot of TV shit out there. When I said I was going to gear everything towards the motorcycle club community and what brotherhood means, just the other day I was asking one of the prospects, why do you want to join this club? And I was expecting to hear the whole bullshit answer of, for the brotherhood. And it's like, well, the next question is then, well, what the fuck do you define as brotherhood? Because 10 to 1, it's just hanging out and having a place to go when you're fucking bored. And that ain't brotherhood. That's just hanging out with your friends and shit. That ain't brotherhood. These people aren't going to be around for the hard times and the fucked up times, so that ain't brotherhood. So anyway, one of the things that he did say, and he surprised me with this, because it was the first time I heard this, and it kind of gave me a new idea of what to include within brotherhood, because brotherhood is basically a family. And you're going to think of your brother as your brother, so your family. So, and what he said is his answer was that, yeah, he was there because he felt like this was his family, and he could always go and hang out with us and be completely comfortable and talk about whatever the fuck he needed to talk about. And he also said this, and this is what got me. The part was, he said he liked hanging out with what he called his family in the club and all the bullshit that came along with that. And I was like, that's a fucking good answer, because all the bullshit goes along with it. That's part of the brotherhood. That's part of being in a brotherhood. You're there for all the bullshit. And in your own family, there's a whole lot of bullshit. I got Mayhem over here snoring. I started letting Mayhem in here in my recordings, thinking he was going to be quiet, and he likes to snore. So anyway, but what he said was 100% the truth. You're there for all the bullshit, and it is bullshit. A lot of drama, man. And a lot of people think that, you get into motorcycle clubs and they're this or they're that, or they're criminal or whatever and shit. And for the most part, it's a lot of bullshit, So I ain't gonna lie, 100. And same thing in the Marine Corps too. You hurried up and you waited. And that's what we did a lot. So a lot of the stuff was just sitting around cleaning our weapons or going through training or whatever, and sitting around a lot. And The cool stuff that you actually went out and, on a mission and shit was maybe that much part of the time that you were, doing shit. So, and all the rest was either hanging around at the barracks, going out and getting hammered or getting in fights or whatever. And that's, it's the bullshit. So, yeah, and there's going to be a lot of shit that needs to get taken care of within brotherhoods. People aren't going to always mesh. They're going to get in fights. They're going to have not see eye to eye. But look at your own family. You think everything. No one's family's fucking perfect. So it's the same thing with brotherhood. So let's get into it. All right, so where do we start with brotherhood? So, like I said in the intro, brotherhood is something that you have in common with a bunch of brothers, right? A bunch of dudes and shit like that. So you have something in common. It can't... When I say something in common, I don't mean y'all like to, I don't know, hang out at a bar and drink. That ain't fucking something in common. That's just something you do. So, an ideology is something that's bigger than you, bigger than the group, something that means something that everyone can believe in. And as we talk about ideology, you're talking about, a lot of times you're talking about religious ideology, which is very powerful because these people will fucking die before they give up that ideology or be taken over by some other ideology. These are fights to the death. So, and that's why I say, when you're talking about ideology, that's the strongest of the common purposes. So, I know in motorcycle clubs, common purpose, one of the common purposes is supposed to be your love of motorcycles. All right, well, fucking great. You don't need a fucking vest for that, right? You don't need a set of colors to put on your back or whatever to do that shit. So, there's got to be something. First of all, that's why a lot of clubs fail, because that's all they do. That's, their love of motorcycles. What the fuck does that mean? Are you gonna throw down with your brother because you love motorcycles? You ain't gonna do shit, man. You're not gonna even take his phone call at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning. So why? You just love motorcycles, man. So there's got to be. You got to look at it as something that's greater than you, greater than the group, something that's bigger, something that everyone can get behind and are very, very passionate about. That's an ideology. So that will fight for that shit. So I know we keep on saying, oh, it's violence, whatever, man. It is what it is. But that's a brotherhood, man. If somebody's fucking with my brother, blood or not, I'm swinging. I don't give a shit what the hell happened. All right, we'll figure that shit out when we get back to the clubhouse, And if it's stupid, then well, I'm gonna take my anger out on my brother for getting me in that bullshit in the first place, right? So, but that's what it's all about, and it ain't about. You might have a year or so, I don't know. It doesn't matter how long it is of good times. Everyone's good, everything, and then all of a sudden, people always talk about the threes, right? Something always happens in 3. Well, it could happen to the same person too, and shit, man, I went through really fucking dark times, and my brothers in my club were right there the whole time, man, and even now, there's certain things that I can't do because of the court and everything like that, but, and they'll make sure I'm not doing it, and they'll tell me. There was a couple times, probably more than a couple times, because I'm a pain in the ass sometimes too, but, that I was getting really angry at a lot of things and just calling out everybody and backbiting and doing all kinds of stupid shit just because I was so fucking angry. And a bunch of brothers fucking called me out for that shit. And we're going to kick my ass about it too. And that's fucking good. And that's what you do. You don't coddle someone because they're being a dick and everything like that. And just, I wasn't talking, and I finally did talk, and I did apologize for it too. And that was it, man. apologize. There's no need to fucking keep on apologizing over and over and over again, because you keep on doing that, you don't mean it in the first place, man. You only need one apology. So, and your brothers are supposed to accept that. If you can tell if somebody really means it or not, if they're just trying to not get out of, if they're trying to get out of an ass kicking, you know. So, they were all behind me, and definitely in a better place because I'm in this club, for sure. And I'll go to bat for all my brothers. And that's one of the things, you know, when we talk about good times and bad times, brothers will always be there for the good times and bad times. Good times, that's easy, man. If you can go to the clubhouse and, you know, party on a Friday night, do all kinds of stupid shit, you know, ride the bikes hard on the road, going to clubhouse, all over the fucking place. That's great. But when we have bad times, individually or as a club, everybody's got to be there to carry the burden. That's Galatians 6:2. And I'm gonna quote some Bible shit. So if you don't like Bible shit, then fuck off, man. That's what I'm gonna do. So it is what it is. And anyway, Galatians 6:2 says, carry each other's burdens. And that's what you're supposed to do. If you're being a brother, you're going to carry your brother's burden. You're going to help him carry that shit. You're not going to let him carry it on his own. You're going to fucking be there. Whether it's, maybe he's locked up, maybe it's 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe it's inconvenient for you. Doesn't matter. If you're his brother, you're going to fucking be there. Just think about, you know, your own family, your own kids and stuff. If my kids call me 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, shit, man, my son, I got a bunch of calls from the police at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning from his ass, right? So, and I woke up and I went down to the station and, you know, took care of that shit. So I'm going to do that for family. And Brotherhood is a family, like I said. So. All right, so what else do we talk about when we talk about brotherhood? Well, we've already talked about common purpose, with ideology being the strongest of those purposes. So, again, the stronger the ideology, stronger the brotherhood. And when we talk about ideology and common purposes, it's something bigger than yourself. It's something bigger than the group of brothers that you have. Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron. Therefore, strong brotherhood will sharpen strong brotherhood. So if you don't have something strong, something above you, something bigger than the whole group in itself, then it's not a brotherhood. One of the things that we talk about when we talk about brotherhood is there has to be truth. Truth has to be spoken within that brotherhood, and not some bullshit truth because you want to fuck with the brother. It shouldn't be anything that'll chop a brother down. It's always supposed to be building that person up and supporting that person, that brother. So when you speak the truth, now sometimes we see brothers speaking the truth and other brothers get pissed off at them. Well, it is what it is, man, because if you're speaking the truth, yeah, there's going to be people that get, I do this shit all the time, man. And if I know my truth is good to go and for the furtherment and betterment of our club, then I'm bringing it up. And no one should be scared to bring that shit up because of retaliation, because you should trust your brothers and your brothers should trust you. So if you're speaking the truth and that truth needs to be said, there's ways of saying it too, right? And a lot of times, myself, I know, you know, some of my older brothers will, you know, come to me and say, bro, man, you just don't fucking listen. And they'll call me you just don't listen because you're a dumb motherfucker, right? And sometimes you need to hear that shit, you know, and I always get pissed off. A lot of times when I hear constructive criticism, I get pissed off and fuck you. But then I go home and think about it, and I was like, damn, that motherfucker was right. And you start learning after a while on that, and I take that criticism as truth. Sometimes it's not the truth, you know, that people have their own opinions too, so you got to sort the shit out. And families are going to have all kinds of drama and whatever, but if it's good advice, it's good advice. It doesn't matter how it fucking comes, right? So as long as you take that and learn from it, then it's a good thing. There's 4 things that I think a strong brotherhood needs. First one is ideology. We've talked about that already. You need to have something that's greater and bigger than yourself in the group. You need to have honesty, which I just talked about, speaking the truth, because if you don't speak the truth and everybody holds shit in, one day it's going to come out, and then it's not going to come out right, and more or less it's not even going to be constructive. It's just going to be trying to cut that brother down and bring him beneath you, or making a brother look bad because you want to create a sense of doubt about that brother so that it will lift you up. That's fucking wrong. So you should always be happy for your brother. Somebody gets a promotion at work, or in our MC world, promotion to a higher office, you should be clapping for him. Clapping for him, man. Freaking good for you, bro. Hope you do well at this, because whatever decisions they make at the top in any of these officer positions will affect the rest of the club. So you want to make sure that, well, you're hoping they make the right decisions, but you need to support that shit no matter what. I mean, you can talk behind closed doors and everything. Be like, I think this is a fucking bad idea, brother. Shit, we do that all the time. But in the end, man, if we're going to do something, we're going to do it. And we're going to do it as brothers. And we're going to take care of our fucking business. So, and that's the way it should be. We'll question that shit when we, like I said, man, my brothers gets at some bullshit out in town or whatever. I'm swinging just right along with them. And we'll worry about that shit when we get back. We'll go over the whole, what the fuck was that about? And, a lot of times that's what it was about, motherfucker. Why the fuck did, And then you start doing that shit. And it's like, man, you got me into that bullshit. Okay. And it gets worked out. It always gets worked out. The other thing that's integral to a brotherhood is loyalty. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I just said that. You're loyal to your brothers, man. And when somebody tells you something in confidence, you keep that shit in confidence. You don't tell any of your other brothers. It's their responsibility to tell the brothers. If they're telling you something personal, man, I know we all love the fucking gossip and shit like that, and that happens. But if somebody tells you something in confidence, keep it in confidence. That's between you and your brother. And if the other brothers, he doesn't want the other brothers to know about it, then don't fucking say nothing. Keep it to yourself, man. And there's been a number of times. I can't say a number of times. I'm trying to help someone, one of my brothers or whatever, and shit gets brought up, and then I get in trouble because I didn't say anything, or I said something to help the brother out, or I tried to get help for him or whatever. But then I have to bring up when I'm getting beaten on that, hey man, you asked me for help. So, and one time that did happen, it was, oh shit, that's right. I was like, yeah, I just did what I did because you needed help, bro. So, and that's being honest. That's being honest and trying to help my brother out. I'm going to do whatever I can to help him out. So, and the last is mutual support. And we all think that's an easy thing to do in the good times, but it ain't so much during the bad times. And the bad times is where you'll find out who your real fucking brothers are. Because your real brothers will be around for those bad times. Will fucking support you. Will help you carry that load. Will do whatever they fucking can to help you out. Now, if a brother's taking advantage of some of that shit, that's another thing. Because then now you need to speak the truth, right? You need to get your shit together. I can't step up for you anymore because you're not doing something to help yourself. And we've heard that before. Right out of the Bible, right? God helps those who help themselves. And such as that, brothers will help brothers as long as those brothers are trying to help themselves too. Man, I'll take whatever measures possible to help a brother that's trying. But if he ain't trying, well, then I got to say something. So, and that's what it's got to be for a true brotherhood. And when we talk about personal growth and accountability between brothers, there always has to be a safe space. If somebody thinks that they can't say nothing because of ramifications for that, they're not going to bring nothing up, and your brotherhood's going to fall apart because no one trusts anybody and no one wants to say shit, and it'll just erode and fall apart. It'll be the end of your brotherhood. So there has to be, if I say something to my brother and I think he's going to chastise me for it, if it's the truth, it's the truth. If he's going to chastise me because it's the truth, then it's the truth. And I got to, I get mad at that shit, but no brother should be scared to bring up some shit to another brother. Not only that he will know that that shit won't get brought up to other brothers if he doesn't want it to get brought up, but he needs to know that there's going to be support behind him. And if, like I said, if you don't have the support, then what's the fucking point of bringing shit up? And there goes your brotherhood again, just like I said before. So when we talk about accountability, that goes right along with the truth as well too. So there's no room for good old boy shit in brotherhoods, because that ain't a brotherhood. Good old boy shit, when I talk about a group within the brotherhood doing shit and moving because, I don't know, because they've been around longer, they have better connections, whatever. There can't be, everybody's your brother. Can't be that like in a family, right? Dad likes the oldest better or the youngest better. It can't be none of that. And as parents, you're never going to say that. That's fucked up if you do. So, yeah, I've had a couple people, oh, which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite? No, my children are my children, and I'll fucking die for both of them. There ain't no favorites. I might be mad at one point at one or the other, or pissed off, or not want to talk to them for a little bit, but blood is blood. So, and brotherhood, obviously brotherhood. Well, there can be families within brotherhood too, but blood relatives and brotherhoods, that's great too. But again, everybody's supposed to be equal, in a brotherhood, and they might not be related via blood, but they're still your brother, because there are those bonds, there are those connections. The ideology is behind it, honesty, truth, supporting your brother. And when we talk about truth, another Bible verse, Ephesians 4:15, speak the truth in love. And that goes back to my fuck it philosophy, where I said you must be impeccable with your word. You can't use your words to cut. You need your words to heal. So if you're saying shit just because you got this brother, and you just harp, yeah, families and brotherhoods. There was one point I was sitting down at the bar with a bunch of guys and their women and stuff, and somebody said something about what really bothers them or something like that. It was something stupid, or they're scared of something, right? And I was like, oh, you don't want to say that around here. And like, oh, why? And I was like, because this is like a family. I was like, you think your brother and sister, if they knew something scared you or whatever, you don't think they're coming after you with that and just to fuck with you? So let's say the same thing there, man. We fuck around a lot. We laugh a lot. We cry, the whole 9 yards, man. When some other brother in another chapter dies, especially if we really knew him real good, yeah, man, we cry. So, and everybody's there to support everybody. So we got to go through this thing called life, and being in a brotherhood, I can't think of any way better to go through it. All right, so if you want to get into brotherhood or you don't have one, how do you go about doing this? How do you find a brotherhood? How do you start a brotherhood? So real brotherhoods are rare. I've had the opportunity, fortunately, in my life to be a part of several of them. One in the Marine Corps, and these guys that I served within the Marine Corps in one particular unit, even after 20 years, man, we started to have reunions, and we still talk to each other now, and everybody's all over the fucking country and shit, but when we're together, it seems like we're back in the shit again. I don't know how long it's been since I got out, but it's like we never left. And these guys, a lot of these guys I can count on no matter what. You know, when I was having trouble before when I went into Batavia, VA, I called out to one of them. And, you know, I know if I show up on any one of these guys' doorstep, I got a place to stay for a little bit to hide out or whatever, you know, that I want to get the fuck away from everybody. So that'll always be there, and that'll always be there for them too. They call me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, bro, I'm in Buffalo, man. I need a place to fucking crash. Hey, no problem, man. So real brotherhood is very rare. So when you do recognize it, and you're going to have to recognize it, you know, you're going to have to recognize the people around you and whether or not they're real brothers or not. And like I said, you'll find out real quick, because obviously the ideology part, the common purpose, common bond or whatever, that kind of comes, I don't know if I want to say easy, but usually that's the first thing that everybody notices, that, oh shit, we all have a common interest or a common, you know, philosophy or ideology or whatever. Let's get together and do something. And then you get together and do that, you know, put that together. The rest of it, like I mentioned, honesty, loyalty, and mutual support, those three things, you're going to have to find brothers, and you're going to have to find people that are real. And what you want to do, you might be the person you might be that real person that people need to see, to emulate, to get around, to attract. You're not going to attract, if you're a piece of shit, man, you're going to attract another piece of shit, right? So if you're a real brother, if that's what you fucking mean and that's what you live by, you're going to attract people like that. And it's going to be pretty easy. I think it is anyway. I know I've read a lot of stuff on this and say it's, you got to look for it. Man, I've been the same person for a long damn time. And whether you like me or hate me, I don't give a shit. But if I say I'm going to be there for you, I am going to be there for you. So if somebody calls me in the middle of the night, they need bail money, or they got to fix their bike and they need some money, or they need to use my garage to, you know, fix up their bikes, or I got a tool that they don't, or I don't know, whatever it is, man. Come on, man, I'm helping you out, no problem. Calling me up in the middle of the night, hey, a freaking girl kicked me out of the house. I'm walking down the street. Can you pick me up? Yeah, man, no problem. I got you, you know. So hopefully I never fall on hard times that you know, I don't want to say I don't want to call on my brothers, because a lot of times we get into these situations where, you know, we got too much pride, or we just don't want to bother our brother or whatever. But sometimes I've had to. And, you know, the guys that are going to be there are going to be there, and the guys that are not, well, they're not really part of the brotherhood, right? Yeah, and like I said, you might be that brother to spark off all this shit and bring in people that will eventually be good brothers. And real brothers are born for adversity, right? They're not born for the good times and happy times. And yeah, that's great and everything, but like I said, the one prospect that said he wants to be there for all the bullshit too, that's going to be, I don't want to say 90% of the time, but sometimes it fucking seems like it, right? But there's going to be some fucked up times. And the brothers that are going to be around that you can call your brother and count on no matter what, they were born for fucking adversity. And they're there. And they're going to be there, even if they don't do shit, man. If you just like, I'm just having a fucking shitty week, shitty month, shitty fucking year. I just can't fucking take it anymore. And they just come in, and I'm sitting around watching TV at the clubhouse, and they just come up and, you all right, man? And they just sit down and watch TV. You don't even have to fucking say anything, man. You're just there. And that in and of itself just takes a load off your fucking shoulders like you wouldn't believe. Just forget about shit. Maybe have a beer together, something, I don't know, whatever. And like I said, you attract what you are. So do not try to be somebody that you're not. I keep on telling everybody that comes into the club this. I said, don't fucking be somebody that you're not, man. Because you know what? Sooner or later, you're going to be found out. Something's going to go down, and everybody, obviously, you know, not obviously, I don't want to say that everybody doesn't come in like that, but you got a lot of guys that come into motorcycle clubs, and the first thing that they think is they got to be a tough guy. And if you're not a tough guy, so who the fuck cares, man? That's not what it's all about. First of all, you got a lot of brothers that'll got your back if you can't hold it down or whatever, and maybe you're the smart one that can fix a lot of the other shit in the club. You know, you don't have to be a killer or nothing like that. That's a lot of show bullshit, TV shit. We always say we need smart brothers, not dumbasses. And we always have dumbasses, but you got to have smart people. So to make anything like that a brotherhood, because again, a lot of the bullshit is, I mean, with us, with motorcycle clubs, like I said, I was going to talk about, there's clubhouses, there's bills. There's just like owning a home. You got to fix the place. You got to clean it up, because some of these brothers don't fucking clean up their messes, right? You got to pay the bills, electric, gas, water, freaking property taxes, whatever else is out there. You got to keep the bar open. You got to keep everything flowing in there, making money, figuring out when the next party is, who we're going to invite, how we're going to invite. And the bigger the club, the bigger the bullshit, right? So, like I said, you might be the one that starts off all that shit and brings in good brothers. You always won't know who the good brother is until, like I said, adversity, right? Something happens. And those brothers will get tested. That's why I said, be who you are. Don't be somebody that you're not. Actually, you know what? Over fucking 25 years ago, I think it has been now since I got in the motorcycle club community and world, or whatever you want to fucking call it. One of the guys that I've known for a long time now, he was a 1%er, and the first thing he told me, because I pretty much brought in a national club to this area in Buffalo, and I started a chapter out here, and I did it completely fucking wrong. It was a nightmare. I thought I was going to end up in the hospital God knows how many fucking times. And I did a lot of shit on my own. And one of the things I was told by this guy was, be who you say you are. And that goes, I've been saying that to everybody that I know, any prospects that I bring up. And I think that's super, super important. Be who you are. And that's in life and anywhere, man. Shit. Any organization, any job, any whatever. In life in general, be who the fuck you are, man. Because like I said, you're going to get found out sooner or later. You can't lie freaking your whole life. Yeah, you can, but you're going to end up alone, and you're going to be found out. No one can hold a lie like that, especially if it's shit that has to do with misrepresenting yourself in a ridiculous way. So, because you're going to have to act on whatever the fuck they think you're at, and you know, if you're not all about that, I don't want to bring up violence and all kinds of shit and everything, but like I said, man, you tell everybody you're a badass and you're the one running out to the bathroom or some shit, then it's not going to go well for you, right? And that's with anything in life too, job, whatever. You tell somebody you can do something, then you can find out they can't. And they maybe you got a job that paid you $100,000 or something like that, and you told them you can do all this shit and everything, and you get in there and you act like an amateur, and you don't know shit. You're gonna probably get fired real quick, right? And then the word's gonna get out, this guy's a fraud. So, again, be who you are. Because when the storm's coming in and the enemy is pushing at the gates, you're gonna look around. Behind you, side to side, you're going to see who your real fucking brothers are. Guarantee you. So, you can all stand together, you can all fall apart. So, and the one thing that will destroy a brotherhood, I'd just like to mention this as a final, I don't know if it's advice or not, but there will be cancers within your brotherhood. Guarantee it. There will be those guys that got into it for all the wrong reasons, faked it the whole fucking time. These are the guys that usually flaunt how long they've been in or the patches they got, and then when you start asking them, well, how'd you earn that one, man? And they don't want to talk about it because, you know, maybe they got it by default or some bullshit like that. They didn't fucking earn it. You just were around long enough and didn't do a fucking thing. Stayed low, stayed in the shadows the whole fucking time, didn't really do shit. I always say, what have you done for the club lately? What? You know, you sitting there fucking trying to think about shit, then, hey, maybe it's time to get off your fucking ass and help the club out. Help the Brotherhood out. Because if you're going to call yourself a brother, you got to put yourself out there. So, you find a cancer, get rid of the fucking cancer as fast as possible, because they're dead weight. So, I'd like to finish on a better note than fucking get rid of the cancer, but, yep. But, I guess I just should reiterate the be yourself, man. That's probably the best advice I have from this whole thing, is just be yourself, man. Be good with yourself. And like I said, out of my fuck it philosophy, if somebody doesn't like who you are, they can go fuck themselves. I give a shit less, man. I'm not changing myself for nobody. I'm not going to act like somebody wants me to act, or I'm going to be somebody that I'm not. No, man, this is me. You don't like me, go fuck yourself. So, and I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. No one's going to tell me what I can and can't do. If I like to do something, that is what I am going to do. So I'm going to die in the Brotherhood that I'm around. You know, that's for life, man. That ain't a Brotherhood. I think is for life. Because if it's not for life, it ain't a Brotherhood. Right? People will come and go. People pass away, whatever. But if you've got a strong enough Brotherhood and a strong enough ideology behind that, supporting that, it can live forever, right? So, right on.